13-year-old girl found herself in the middle of a cruel cyber hoax.
Meier and Barrett died as a result of emailing people who didn't really exist. The documentary Before You Commit, Internet Dating, was not released until after their death. By using the tools in Nick Eisenberg's video, similar tragedies will never have to happen again. You'll be able to tell if you're corresponding with people who actually exist.
We're going to talk about internet dating.
We're talking about the red flags. We're talking about, you know, the warning signs.
Right off the bat, they want to know how big your breasts are, what your measurements are. Just how black are you?
How black are you?
Just how black are you? Oh my God.
We were there. We had hospice care in the home. We were taking care of Dan, and he was in the last days of his life. And we were there, and there came a knock on the door, kind of by surprise. And standing at the door was a woman with her suitcases, and she was there to save Dan. And she had left her husband and children in Washington State and arrived in Denver to take care of Dan. She was under the impression that he had cancer and that he was the love of her life. And what Dan hadn't really told her was that he was a wonderful but gay man in a long-term relationship.
Nick Eisenberg has a special talent for knowing what's really important to people and what's important to you if you're dating on the internet or just dating.
For a relationship to develop through the internet, like through more traditional channels, you're much more likely to enjoy long-term success if you first understand what a healthy relationship looks like.
See, healthy relationships, you should feel good like 95% of the time. So if you're finding yourself feeling nervous, irritated, anxious, sad, hurt, rejected, guilty, any of those things on a regular basis, and this is not the right person for you.
Learn how to tell if the people at the other end of your email are who they say they are, the sex they say they are, and the age they say they are.
Dave had been single since 1974, so he went on the internet and soon began corresponding with a woman in Russia. She looks great in these pictures, but this picture really demonstrates more of how the scam artist, which might not have been a woman at all, treated Dave.
Identify romance scams before you have a broken heart and an empty bank account.
A lot of times to gain your trust, they'll, after talking to you for a while, they'll ask for your address. They want to send you a gift, a token of their affection, and they'll send you some chocolates and a teddy bear and a balloon, or then they got your address then, and so then of course you think, oh, this person really likes me. So then all of a sudden something happens, and some tragedy happened. Some tragedy. They were in a car accident, or they were robbed or mugged, or they don't have they need money for whatever reason. And so, being the kind-hearted person, and this is supposedly the love of your life, so you go ahead and send them what they need.
Learn to tell if the people at the other end of your email really look like their pictures.
This woman, she looked spectacular from her picture on the internet. I was all excited. Wow, this is a young, vibrant lady. I'm going to go meet her up in Aspen. This is kind of neat. Well, I drive to go have lunch with her, and she shows up, and I wasn't sure it was her at first because the woman who showed up appeared to be in her 60s. And here I am, 33 years old at the time, wondering what's going on here. She said on the internet that her age was 34. And it was just really weird to think that this woman who had obviously a photoshopped image or something and was portraying herself as 34 was really, probably a senior citizen.
Learn how to tell if the people at the other end of your email are scary people.
We decided to meet for dinner, and one of the questions that she asked me while we were eating dinner was if I had ever murdered anyone.
Learn the advantages of internet dating for gays and lesbians.
It's Gay Ski Week in Aspen, Colorado, where 4,000 of the skiers and snowboarders in Aspen this week are gay or lesbian. Enough so it's okay to ask.
I wish it was rare, but it's not. There's just in Denver, amongst the bars, there's probably anywhere between 10 and 20 hate crimes of some sort that happen every month, and it's usually before or after a person's been at a bar.
Learn what relationships are most likely to be successful with people who have been in prison.
I would date a man who has a criminal record, depending on what that criminal record is, depending on what that person was doing with their life at the time. Is if they're still engaging in the behavior that first got them in prison. So for example, if a person committed a crime under the influence of alcohol or drugs, if that person is still doing alcohol and drugs at the same rate that they were when they went into prison, then that's an indicator that that person might end up doing engaging in criminal behavior or stupid behavior that might return that person to prison.
And finally, look at how the people who are courting you treat other people, because nobody's special. How they treat those people is ultimately how they're going to treat you.
Before your next date and before your next email, watch the 72-minute documentary Before You Commit.